Hey guys, Christina here, and I'm here with Sharnella Clark.
Hello.
And now you are a hard money lender.
Yes, I am.
Can you explain to my viewers what is a hard money lender?
A hard money lender is totally different from a bank. We typically use our own funds to lend to investors only. We do not lend to homeowners. So we determine whether or not we want to invest in the property based on something that's called an after repair value. So when an investor brings a property to us, the first thing we do is we look at, okay, how much are you purchasing this property for? What is the after repair value? What are your projected costs with regards to renovating the property? So in other words, if an investor brings a property to me and it's worth, say, $100,000 for easy numbers.
Okay.
And so that's the ARV is $100,000.
Yeah.
And they purchase it for $10,000 and the rehab budget is about $40,000. So they're all in for roughly $50,000. So that leaves a potential $50,000 profit. Now there's other things that have to be considered are the holding costs in addition to the renovation costs, such as taxes, insurance on the property, and then there's always some issue that comes up with the property that you didn't anticipate. I can't tell you how many properties I've renovated and every one of them had a hidden issue that I did not anticipate, but I always would add another 10% onto my rehab budget to account for something like that.
To expect the unexpected.
Exactly. Always expect the unexpected. So what we look at is there a large enough potential profit in order for us to decide whether or not we're going to make the loan? Because our rates are really high. They're anywhere between 12 and sometimes 15%. And no, it's not usury because it's a business.
Of course.
Okay. So why would they pay us 12 to 15%? That's because we can look at a property, analyze it, and for me personally, I have funded deals within 4 days.
4 days?
4
that
days.
was going to be my next question.
Yes.
How quick can you guys close?
Yeah.
So 4 days. So can you let would-be investors know examples of when we would want to go with a hard money loan? The first thing to come to mind for me is a property with fire. So can you tell a little bit more, give examples on the type of properties that wouldn't qualify with traditional financing, where hard money loan might make more sense?
Yeah. So for me, I look at, again, the area as well is very important. So the ARV, okay, and with a fire damage property, who is your contractor? With those type of properties, you need a contractor who knows exactly what they need to do to pull the right permits. So I look at their team. If they don't have a good enough team or if they're brand new, I won't even consider that loan. The other thing is I want the person to have some skin in the game. Because, okay, you go ahead and purchase it with your money and then you come to me for the rehab. And I tell you why we want you to have skin in the game is because if I give you 100% of the purchase, 100% of the rehab, what incentive do you have to finish the project if you run into issues?
So that's a good point. It's skin in the game. So in our world over here in the traditional financing, we just call that LTV.
Okay.
How much skin in the game or how much equity would a would-be investor need to expect for a potential opportunity for fire or a potential distressed home?
Okay, so every lender is different, and experience definitely plays a role. I personally do not loan to new investors.
Okay.
You have to be experienced, and that is you have to have had at least 5 flips. That's verifiable for me. I'm a realtor, so I maintain my license. I do help people purchase and sell homes. But mostly I use my license to help me better understand the market, where the market is trending. So if I like the area, because we always have to keep the end results in mind. If by chance this investor decides to walk away from the property, they don't finish the project, I have to look at, okay, if I'm going to repossess this property, I'm going to foreclose on this person, is this an area where I would like to own the property? So for me, we discuss A, B, and C areas or zones
Of course.
in which we purchase properties. I never go into a D or an E zone. So I always stay in a C plus or better neighborhood, because then I know that if I have to repossess the property, I have a better chance of maybe taking that property back, finishing the renovations, and renting that property, and over the long term, cashing myself back out.
Of course.
But up front, again, an investor who has at least 5 flips under their belt,
Yeah.
or at least 5 rental properties, and I can verify that because I have a license
Of course.
in real estate. So you give me the property address, I can check in public records to make sure that your company actually owns this property. I can see the condition of the property. In some cases, if they bought it off the MLS, I can see what the property looked like before and then after. But in other cases, if they bought the property off market where it's not on the MLS or has not been listed on the MLS, then oftentimes they will have a portfolio of pictures that show the beginning, middle, and end stages. So I like to work with investors who are very
Organized.
Structured and organized.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, can we talk a little bit about misconceptions? Because when I say the word hard money lender, people have this idea of like a loan shark, or like a wise guy coming in to collect his money and strong arms you. They have like this idea of what a hard money lender is.
Okay.
Can you talk, like, is there any regulation? Like how, like what misconceptions do people have about a hard money lender?
Okay, so because you're using your own money, there aren't any regulations.
Okay.
It's when you're talking about business to business.
Mm-hmm.
Again, that's why we can't loan to homeowners because of the Dodd-Frank rules, right?
Yeah.
So, but in business, you can actually charge up to 25%.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and in those instances, I've had people come to me and offer me 25% because they need what's considered gap funding. Mm-hmm. And what that is like one gentleman, he purchased the home with his own cash, and he used his own cash for the renovation, and he fell just $10,000 short. There's not a bank in the world that's going to give him $10,000.
Of course.
Okay, and he didn't want to use personal loans or anything of that nature.
His business.
Exactly, and then he wanted the money within less than a week.
Yeah.
And so what I did was I said, okay, this is a super easy decision for me, because he's got so much equity in the property because he's used his own cash. So he's got a lot of equity in there, his own money. He's not likely to walk away from this particular project. So we go over to the property, we look at the property, see how much work had been done, and then analyze how much needed to be done to complete the project.
Yeah.
And we organize the payment schedule that we work together, the two of us, myself the lender, them the borrower. We create the contract ourselves. We create the terms ourselves.
And you were able to help take him to the finish line.
Exactly.
And I know I had one client, we lost the deal unfortunately, but I say that there are some projects as an investor where it almost doesn't matter what you're charging for interest.
Exactly.
Because the profit margins are so huge. So I know that like with distressed homes where maybe they need to be demolished, or the most common one I can see of that I think of as jackpot homes is if there's been fire damage, because the purchase price is so low compared to the comparables that it almost doesn't matter what your budget is to fix the home when you're looking at potentially like tripling your investment, quadrupling your investment.
Exactly.
An extra 10% here or there isn't going to make that big of a difference.
And then the other thing is too, time is a factor, because if an investor is bidding on that property against another investor, time is of the essence.
Of course.
They don't have time to go to the bank and let the bank analyze and go through underwriting. By that time, someone else has scooped up the property with
cash buyer.
Exactly. So time is very, very important. Now, I do have some investors who they'll borrow the money up front to renovate the property, and as they're moving along the renovation process, they'll simultaneously apply for a traditional mortgage because they plan to hold on to the property as a rental.
Of course.
But it gives them time. Now they've been able to capture the property quickly, start the renovations at the same time that they're applying for a mortgage. So it doesn't, and oftentimes for businesses, fix and flippers, it can take about 3 months sometimes for them to even get the loan. So think about that. They lose out every time if they didn't have us private money lenders.
Yeah, so it allows them to kind of bridge the gap where, hey, let's get this deal right now because this is like a steal.
Yeah.
And then by the time we're done renovating it, getting it up to code where it can pass a traditional appraisal and go through the mortgage so that it actually gets them the home.
Yes.
So they don't miss out on those opportunities.
So they really appreciate us. I can't tell you, I get calls every week. But I don't take every deal. I analyze every deal. And what I also do, which you'll see on Financial Fix with Sharnella, is most oftentimes if I've gotten into the deal at the very beginning stage where they purchase the home, I'll record what the home looks like in its devastating state. Then I'll go back and take a recording of the middle stage and then again on the back end. And that's another way that I make sure that the investor is using the money appropriately and that they're moving along in the project. Because for us, hard money, you want to get in and out quickly. Because if you hold too long, it can catch up with you, the high interest rate.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's where it all ties together. Okay. Is there anything else you want to touch on with hard money that I might not have asked yet?
The only thing is, right now, the economy is changing quite a bit. So for any new investor who's getting into fixing and flipping homes, or maybe they want to, purchase an investment property that they plan on renting, you need to be in a position where you can put some skin in the game. That means 20 to 30% of your own funds. Because if you're brand new, and even for some experienced flippers and landlords, because right now the market is, there's a little bit of uncertainty. I'm not saying that the market is bad, but there's just a little bit of uncertainty. Homes are starting to sit on the market a little bit longer than, at the height of 2022. So our investors are now being a little bit more cautious. And so we're asking the investor to have some skin in the game and put some of your own money in this. If you really believe in your investment and you think it's a great investment, why wouldn't you put some of your own money into it? So definitely new investors, and even for those who are experienced investors, every time you get paid, you get cashed out, and you get tens of thousands of dollars, don't blow the money. Spend it wisely. Put it back into your business. Okay, because again, with all the private money lenders that I know, and there's a community of us, and we all communicate together. So if an investor walks out on the property on one of us, the rest of us are going to hear about it, and you're going to damage your reputation. It's a very, very small, it's a small community. So you'll really want to maintain good relationships with your private money lenders because we are very helpful and very vital to the investors being able to capture the properties quickly and get them renovated quickly.
Wow.
Yeah.
I learned something new today.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much for joining me. Okay. So for the people watching, where can they find you on the internet?
Okay, you can find me at Financial Fix with Sharnella. That is my YouTube channel. I have multiple videos, nuggets of information about budgeting and preparing for your financial future. You can also find me on Instagram, Sharnella Clark. You can find me also on Facebook, Sharnella Clark.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Until next time, guys.